If your ass is constantly being denied for startup business loans, in today's conversation, I will share with you why. That way you have a clear idea the next time you apply, what to avoid, things you have to do to make sure that you are improving your approval odds. So I want you to really pay attention from A to Z because I'll be spilling a lot of gems, a lot of beans into this conversation so that in the end, the next time you apply for a startup business loan, you will be approved 100%. I guarantee it. So here's an overview I really want you to pay attention to. So the thing is that, if your startup business loan loan application is denied, sometimes it's because you have name conflict. In other words, banks and credit unions, for that matter, they can't verify your business name. Like, let's say you have, you say, I have a startup, okay, and I want to get a loan, okay, but the bank is realizing that when they check their records, or when they check state records, they're realizing you say, yeah, my company is AY, like ABC. But they realize there is no company called ABC. You have ABC something, ABC another thing, but you don't have the ABC. So the name you put on the loan application, make sure that loan is indeed the loan that appears in official records. So if they call, let's say if they call state authorities to say, okay, this LLC just wanted to apply for a business loan with us. Does this LLC exist? Do they have a certificate of good standing? Make sure that there is synchronicity between the name that you are giving the lender and the name that you have in official records. This is important. A lot of startups make that mistake a lot, and they realize afterwards, wow, why is my business loan always denied? It's because you haven't taken care of this part. Okay. By the way, welcome back to the show. It's really a pleasure to have you here to have this quick convo about startup business loan application denied. Okay. The second thing is that the second reason why your business loan application might be denied, your startup business loan application, is because if you have non-compliance, let's say, you say I have a startup LLC, but you're not in compliance with your state government. For example, you do not have a registered agent service. You do not have, let's say, you haven't filed your annual report. Let's say you are like a 15-month-old startup or an 18-month-old startup, and you haven't filed your annual report for the first year. You have not actually abided by the regulatory practices that your state requires. For example, having a registered agent, having the proper business licenses and permits, okay, having the proper articles of incorporation or updated articles of not incorporation, organization for an LLC. You don't have the appropriate paperwork. So if you have a situation where you're not compliant, you're not going to qualify. This is really important. The third reason why your startup business loan might be denied, if you don't have an EIN at all. Let's say you are trying to apply for a startup business loan, but you haven't done everything to actually qualify as a business for real. And this we see this a lot when people have a startup business loan for one person. Let's say you have a single member LLC, or you are a sole proprietorship and you are trying to get a business loan as a startup, but you are only one person. If you are a one person show, you really need to have you need to really professionalize your profile. You need to actually have you need to legitimate your profile so that when you apply for a startup business loan, lenders take you seriously. So, and this starts with you having an EIN. You gotta have an EIN. Okay, so go to the IRS right now. If you don't have an EIN, go to the IRS right now and go to the IRS website and apply for that EIN. Or you can just fill out a form SS4 and just mail it to the IRS until you get your EIN. It takes longer though. If you apply for an EIN via like online, this was kind of fine. But if you apply via EIN manually, it takes longer. Or if you can just mail it to them, or you can just fax it, it's just totally possible. Another reason why your startup business loan might be denied is if there is a phone number conflict. Remember, the bank have to do their due diligence, especially in this economy. Banks are really strict. Banks are really risk averse. I mean, they've seen some of the regulators stepping in and actually bailing out banks. Consumers are kind of pissed, whatever. So banks in this environment are very careful. So if they see a phone number conflict, let's say you put a phone number on your application. Let's say you put 212-123-4567, something like this. And they realize after checking that there is no phone number associated with your name, or even worse, there is your name, your name is there, but the phone number associated with it is 212 324, whatever, like, so it's different. Now you might be thinking it's only a phone number. No. If the bank cannot ascertain that you are for real, if the bank or credit union or online lender or alternative lender, if that institution cannot ascertain that you are who you say you are, you're not going to qualify. So your startup business loan will be denied. And let's talk about physical address, for example. That's another reason why your startup business loan might be denied. By the way, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. I'm giving you all the reasons why your startup business loan might be denied and what you can do about it, because it's really important to take actions right now so you are clear about those mistakes so that you don't have to make them. If you don't have a physical address, the thing is, if you have a startup and you're looking for a startup business loan, you don't have to list the address where you're currently working from. Like, let's say you are working from your basement or from your backyard, for that matter. And you're starting to do things slowly. I mean, there's no problem with starting a business at home. As a matter of fact, you take Google, of all companies. Google started in a garage. They started in a garage in 2004, 2003. All right, so they've been trying, and you see where Google is today. So it doesn't matter where you start; it's about how you position yourself from the get-go. So you can start in your garage, whatever, but you can actually have a virtual office or a mailbox, a digital mailbox, whereby you actually choose a prestigious address to actually take care of your business correspondence, so that when the lender sees that, they're pretty comfortable that you have a great, let's say, a great setup. You also need to think about longevity. So sometimes when your startup business loan gets denied, it's not because you have bad credit personally, or you have bad credit business-wise, or you're not generating revenue. It's simply because you haven't been in business long enough. I mean, if the lender says, you know what, I want to have a minimum 1 year of operational history, and you don't have that 1 year, you're not going to qualify. And there's nothing you can do about it. Like, don't try to beat yourself up. No, just tell yourself, listen, if they want my ass to be in business for 18 months and I've only been in business for 12 months, I'm going to wait. I'm not trying to really fight the system. No, I'm going to wait. So if you do that, then you are able to say, you know what? Okay, now I've reached the requirements. And but just remember that startups technically can go all the way to 2 years. After 2 years, you are no longer a startup. So 2 years, 2 years is the maximum, depending on your let's say on your revenue cycle. Some industries have shorter revenue cycles than others. So 2 years is the maximum that you need to think about. Why you might have your startup business loan denied is if you have problems with your business credit score. For example, your PAYDEX is missing, or your Experian IntelliPlus V2 score is missing, or your Equifax, risk assessment credit score is missing. If you have those, in other words, if the bank can't qualify, let's say you have crappy personal credit score. You have a crappy one. Let's say you are around 325, 350. I'm not trying to really say like it's really bad, but hey, listen, things happen and just accept it. If you have a bad credit score, you're not going to qualify for a startup business loan really that easily. So what I'm trying to say here is that if your PAYDEX is missing, if you don't have a business credit report or credit score for that matter, the lender might have like fewer options to actually gauge your credit worthiness. Okay, if you don't have a PAYDEX score right now, I want you to go after this show. I want you to go sign up for a DUNS number first. You go to DunandBradstreet.com. That's where so on that website, just search for it. Apply for DUNS number. You should actually see it very prominently on the website. But if you don't, just tap apply for a DUNS number. And so once you have a DUNS number, you can start building credit. You can start having a credit score, a business credit score. By the way, boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We're having a conversation about things you can do, like reasons why your startup business loan may be denied and what you can do about it. And so if you also have a thin FICO score, this could be problematic also, because the lender is looking at both your business credit score and personal credit score. And if the lender sees some kind of correlation, in other words, you have bad credit everywhere, this could be problematic for you. Even if you have a big delta, let's say your personal credit score is wonderful and your business credit score is crappy, this delta, this dichotomy, this discrepancy can also play in your disfavor. It can also play against you. Okay, but again, the bottom line here is that what you can do is to check those things in advance and start doing whatever you have to do to fix them. For example, if you have a thin credit score, then you want to start beefing up your credit score now. Don't wait until you're ready to apply for a startup business loan to start thinking about ways to fix them. No, start. If you have a subpar credit score in general though, this could be problematic. And when we talk about subpar credit score, we're speaking about the reasons why that credit score became subprime or subpar in the first place. Because the startup business lender is going to pay attention to what we call context. So he or she is going to contextualize your loan application to see what you are bringing to the table. Are you bringing like a heavy load of, skeletons in your closet? Are you bringing in a heavy loads of financial skeletons in your closet? So have you filed for bankruptcy? Do you have collections and charge-offs on your credit? What do you have? Because the lender is interested in it. The lender wants to know exactly what do you have that made you that could potentially make you a quote unquote not very rosy applicant in the first place. Also, your legal structure could be a problem. So if you did not provide an entity status on your startup business loan application, you could be actually denied. So the bottom line, the point I'm trying to make here is that just pay attention. So if you are a startup and you are applying for a business loan, pay attention, be careful, be thorough, be granular. Okay, go through each steps of let's say the business loan application and find out exactly what kind of a situation you need to pay attention to, right? And what kind of a criterion you need to pay attention to. This will help you in the long run. And one thing I want to say here is that it doesn't matter, like this 10 hacks that I just gave you, they are actually applicable no matter the state you're currently finding yourself in. Because sometimes people say, well, you give me a great piece of advice, but can I apply this in Hawaii? Can I apply this in Alaska? And I'm here to say yes. Business conditions are not like business loan, like startup business loan application processes are not different in Alaska versus the rest of the continental USA. They're not different in Hawaii as you see on the continental USA. Okay, rules are the same. Banks operate the same way. Financial institutions operate the same way. So they're not going to your situation is a little different. Let me give you a few pro tips. So I want to help you get a startup business loan approved real fast. It's really important to really be in the right mindset if you want to get your startup business loan approved real fast. The first thing I want you to do here is to review your payday score. You want to review your FICO score. So you want to review your business credit scores and your personal credit scores. That way, you know whether or not the economy is good for you, whether or not you can actually contribute by having a startup business loan and contribute to the economy by issuing new products or services or taking care of internal operations. And so one thing I want to say when reviewing your business credit score is to look at something called historical patterns. What is the chronology? Okay, so it's not just about the number that you have when it comes to your business credit score. It's also about the chronology, the trends, quarter over quarter, month after month, year after year. Are you seeing progress? Are you seeing some kind of like a uptick in your numbers? If not, why? If yes, why? So pay attention to that. And you want to actually make sure that you are asking, for example, the startup business lender to consider certain parts of your industry. This is kind of cool in terms of contextualizing or recontextualizing your startup business loan application, so you have a clear idea what you're getting yourself into. And this is one of those things where it never hurts to actually ask. Okay, and if you can ask in the proper way, you'll get your startup business loan approved no matter what. Remember though, if you're talking about, let's say, reviewing your personal and business credit reports, you also have to think about your company's financial statements, because those are really important. Again, when the startup business lender is okay with you providing projected financial statements, they're not looking for actual financial statements, because if you're new, chances are you have no idea what a set of financial projections looks like. So this is where you want to really get closer to folks who know a little bit about those things, and you can find them on Fiverr, you can find them on Upwork.com, you can find them on Freelancer.com. The bottom line here is you are able to use to actually use experts to kind of help. One thing I also want you to do here is in this economy, like yesterday, the Bloomberg Finance was talking about the importance of startups to the economy, right? And last month in our research, the New York Times, the Washington Post, and also there was a third publication, a third magazine, or third newspaper, I forgot, but I think it's U.S. News and World Report. So those are actually saying that, if you're able to improve your credit score, your startups can get better financing, including credit cards and loans. Okay, so improving your credit score becomes important. Improving your credit score becomes quite essential. And remember, if you have a higher business loan, if you have a higher business credit score, you indeed have chances of applying for a startup business loan that really caters to your specific situation. Or you can try to consider other options for a startup business loan. Like, there are a lot of options out there. It depends on what kind of loan you need in the first place. Do you need equipment financing? Do you need accounts receivable financing, like factoring and what have you? So this is really, it depends on what you need. And when it comes to start a business loan, and when we talk about having access to a wide array of options, it's just a lot better to go, for example, to a loan marketplace so that you can see what lenders are thinking about your business. And when we talk about loan marketplaces, we're talking about Lendu, for example. Lendu is a great loan marketplace where you only have access to one screenshot that sort of aggregates everything. So you don't have to wait for you have to wait for multiple screenshots or multiple capabilities. No, Lendu will do it a lot. They will do it easier for you, and you can get approved within 1 day. Another loan marketplace is National Business Capital. We have NBC, and NBC also does a great job in terms of giving you a proper elements, and so that you can actually take care of business. You can go back. You can, whatever lifestyle you want to have, you can actually have that through this by having the right startup business loan to further your business interest and to pay for stuff you need to pay for, and hire the people that you need to hire so that you can transform your startups real fast into a regular business. I really appreciate in today's conversation. I was just talking to you about the startup business loan denied, what to do. So I gave you the top 10 stuff that you have to think about, and I give you a few pro tips. God bless you. I will see you next time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.